As the conversation drew to a close, Angel suggested something that took Rachel by surprise. Why don't you try online dating? She suggested. You never know, you might meet someone special. Rachel shook her head. I don't know, Angel. Online dating just seems so impersonal. Rachel was a beautiful woman with long dark hair and a bright smile that could light up any room. She worked hard at her job in Lagos, Nigeria, and she was good at it. But despite her success, there was one thing missing in her life: love. She had been through a lot in her younger days. Boys had come and gone, leaving her heartbroken each time. Some had lied, some had cheated, and some had just disappeared without a word. Rachel had learned to be strong, but deep down, the pain still lingered. As she grew older, Rachel noticed a pattern. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't seem to make a relationship last. It wasn't that she didn't want to find love, she just didn't trust men anymore. She had been hurt too many times before, and she wasn't willing to risk her heart again. But as the years went by, Rachel couldn't ignore the nagging feeling of loneliness that crept into her life. All around her, friends and family were getting married and starting families of their own. Even her younger sisters had found love, leaving Rachel feeling like she was being left behind. One night, feeling especially lonely, Rachel reached out to her friend Angel. Angel was a few years younger than Rachel, but they had been friends for as long as she could remember. They had shared everything together: their dreams, their secrets, and their heartaches. On the phone, Rachel poured out her heart to Angel, telling her about her fears and insecurities. She told Angel how much she longed to find someone to share her life with, someone who would love her for who she was. Angel listened patiently, offering words of comfort and encouragement. Don't worry, Rachel, Angel said soothingly. The right man will come along when the time is right. You just have to be patient. But Rachel couldn't shake the feeling of despair that gnawed at her heart. What if he never comes? She asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Angel sighed. You can't give up hope, Rachel. You are beautiful, intelligent woman, and you deserve to find happiness just like everyone else. Rachel tried to smile, but inside, she felt like her heart was breaking all over again. She had spent so many years building walls around herself, afraid to let anyone else in. But now, those walls felt like a prison, trapping her in a life of loneliness and regret. As the conversation drew to a close, Angel suggested something that took Rachel by surprise. Why don't you try online dating? She suggested. You never know, you might meet someone special. Rachel shook her head. I don't know, Angel. Online dating just seems so impersonal. But Angel was persistent. It's worth a try, Rachel. What have you got to lose? Rachel sighed. Maybe Angel was right. Maybe it was time to let go of her fears and take a chance on love again. Okay, she said finally, I will give it a shot. With a sense of determination, Rachel ended the call and went to bed, her mind swelling with thoughts of what the future might hold. Little did she know, her life was about to change in ways she never could have imagined. The next morning, Rachel woke up feeling a sense of unease. As she stood before the mirror, doubt crept into her mind. Maybe, just maybe, there was something wrong with her. She couldn't shake off the feeling of uncertainty that lingered in her thoughts. Deciding to distract herself, Rachel reached for her laptop and searched for the dating app that Angel had recommended. With a deep breath, she signed up and updated her profile. Despite her reservations, she couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope that maybe this would be the answer to her loneliness. After quickly getting ready for work, Rachel headed out, but her mind was clouded with doubt. The idea of online dating didn't sit right with her, and her instincts told her to resist. But she pushed those thoughts aside, reasoning that if Angel was doing it, then why couldn't she? Throughout the day at work, Rachel couldn't concentrate. Restlessness gnawed at her, and she found herself constantly checking her phone for any notifications from the dating app. At a point, she even made a mental note to delete her profile once she returned home. When Rachel finally arrived home that evening, she wasted no time in retreating to her room. Grabbing her laptop, she logged into the dating website, fully intending to delete her account. But before she could do so, a message popped up on her screen. Hi beautiful, how are you doing? You look amazing, and I must confess, you are the most beautiful woman on this platform. I would love it if you could give me an audience. My name is Jack. Rachel's heart skipped a beat as she read Jack's message. Despite her initial reservations, she couldn't deny that he seemed charming. She hesitated for a moment, scrolling through his profile and admiring his handsome features. But something about him gave her pause. He seemed like a playboy, and Rachel wasn't sure if she wanted to get involved with someone like that. However, a part of her was curious. Maybe Jack was different from what he seemed. Maybe he was a nice person after all. With a sigh, Rachel decided to give him a chance. Engaging in a long conversation with Jack, Rachel found herself drawn to him more and more with each passing day. They exchanged numbers, and Jack told her that he was currently in Abuja but would be coming down to Lagos very soon. Day after day, they talked, and Jack's words of love began to melt Rachel's heart. Despite her initial doubts, he found herself falling for him too. They were so in love that Rachel felt like she could tell Jack anything and everything. Their relationship blossomed, and Rachel was happier than she had been in a long time. But little did she know, things were about to take an unexpected turn. As time went by, Rachel and Jack's relationship deepened. Rachel felt like she had finally found the one, someone she could trust and share her life with. She opened up to Jack about her work, her successes, and even her fears, and he listened attentively, never asking for anything in return. Jack proved himself to be different from other men Rachel had known. He sent her gifts and money from time to time, showing that he cared for her without expecting anything in return. Rachel felt blessed to have him in her life, and she couldn't wait for their future together. Finally, The day arrived when Jack was set to come to Lagos. Rachel was overjoyed at the thought of finally being able to see him in person. When Jack called her and asked her to come to meet him, Rachel hesitated. She was a busy woman with a demanding job, and she couldn't afford to take time off to go and see him. Instead, she suggested that Jack come to her place instead. She sent him her address, and soon enough, he was standing on her doorstep. Rachel's heart skipped a beat as she opened the door and saw him standing there, a smile on his face. "Jack, it's so good to see you," Rachel exclaimed, throwing her arms around him in a tight hug. "I have missed you so much, Rachel," Jack replied, returning her embrace. They spent the next few days together, catching up on lost time and enjoying each other's company. Everything seemed perfect, and Rachel couldn't help but feel like she was living her dream. Then one evening, as they sat together on the couch, Jack turned to Rachel with a serious expression on his face. "Rachel, there is something I need to ask you," he said, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small velvet box. Rachel's heart skipped a beat as Jack got down on one knee and opened the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring. "Rachel, will you marry me?" Jack asked, his eyes shining with love and hope. Tears welled up in Rachel's eyes as she looked at Jack, overwhelmed with emotion. "Yes, Jack, yes," she cried, throwing her arms around him in a tight embrace. They kissed passionately, sealing their engagement with a promise of love and commitment. But their happiness didn't end there. Jack had one more surprise for Rachel. "Rachel, I want you to meet my family," he said, his eyes shining with excitement. "We are going to Osun State to visit them." Rachel's heart swelled with joy at the thought of meeting Jack's family. She had always dreamed of having a big happy family of her own, and now it seemed like her dreams were finally coming true. Filled with happiness and excitement, Rachel agreed to Jack's plan. But first, she needed to tie up some loose ends at work. She called Angel, her best friend, to share the good news. "Angel, guess what?" Rachel exclaimed, unable to contain her excitement. "Jack proposed to me and we're getting married." "Rachel, that's amazing news," Angel replied, her voice filled with joy. "I'm so happy for you." Rachel told Angel about Jack's plan to visit his family in Osun State, and Angel couldn't wait to meet him. "When are you coming back to Lagos for the wedding?" Rachel asked. "Very soon, Rachel, very soon," Angel replied, her voice filled with excitement. With everything falling into place, Rachel couldn't help but feel like God had finally answered her prayers. She was filled with happiness and gratitude, looking forward to the bright future that lay ahead. Little did she know, however, that their journey was far from over. The day of their journey arrived, and Rachel was filled with excitement as she and Jack set out for Osun State. She couldn't wait to meet Jack's family and start planning their future together. As they traveled, Rachel smiled happily, her heart full of hope and anticipation. Jack handed her a bottle of soda and a snack, and Rachel accepted them gratefully, enjoying the taste of the refreshments as they traveled along the road. The warm sun streamed through the windows, casting a golden glow over everything and Rachel felt like she was living in a dream. But soon, exhaustion caught up with her, and Rachel's eyes grew heavy as she dozed off. She drifted into a peaceful sleep, unaware of the darkness that awaited her. When she finally opened her eyes, Rachel found herself in a strange and unfamiliar place. Panic gripped her heart, and she realized that she was tied to a wall, her mouth taped shut. She struggled against her bonds, but they held her fast, trapping her in the darkness. As Rachel's eyes adjusted to the dim light, she saw Jack standing before her, his laughter echoing off the walls. But there was nothing warm or friendly about his laughter. It was harsh and cruel, sending shivers down Rachel's spine. "You see your life, Rachel," Jack sneered, his voice dripping with malice. "Oh, you thought you had found a husband, didn't you? But you were wrong, dead wrong." Rachel's heart sank as Jack's words sank in. She had trusted him, believed in him, but now she realized that he was nothing but a cruel and heartless monster. "I don't love you, Rachel," Jack continued, his tone cold and merciless. "I have a wife and a daughter living in London. This is my job, pretending to love rich ladies and taking everything they have. And you are just another victim on my list, number 30 to be exact." Tears welled up in Rachel's eyes as she listened to Jack's words. She had been so naive, so foolish to believe in his lies, and now she was paying the price of her trust. Jack instructed Rachel to transfer everything she owned to him once he returned, leaving her with nothing but despair and heartache. As he walked out of the room, leaving her alone in the darkness, Rachel's tears flowed like a river, her sobs echoing off the walls. She prayed for help, for salvation, but deep down, she knew that no one was coming to rescue her. She was alone, trapped in a nightmare of her own making, with no way out. And as she huddled in the darkness, Rachel vowed to herself that she would find a way to escape, to reclaim her life and her dignity. But little did she know, the road ahead would be long and treacherous, filled with danger and uncertainty. Rachel couldn't shake off the overwhelming sadness and fear that consumed her heart. All she could do was pray silently, pleading with God to show her mercy and rescue her from this nightmare. After what felt like eternity, Jack returned to the room, holding Rachel's phones in his hand. He untaped her mouth, but Rachel was too distraught to speak. She could only cry silently, her tears a silent testament to the pain and betrayal she felt. Jack smiled at her, his eyes cold and calculating. He told her that it was time for her to do the needful, which meant transferring all her money to a certain account with a different name from his own. He opened her bank app and demanded her password, but Rachel remained silent, refusing to cooperate. Enraged by her defiance, Jack slapped her across the face with brutal force. Rachel cried out in pain, her cheek stinging from the impact. But even as tears streamed down her face, she looked at Jack with defiance and sorrow. "You are evil," Rachel whispered hoarsely, her voice trembling with emotion. "You won't get away with this." Jack laughed, his laughter echoing off the walls of the room. "Obey me," or face the consequences. He warned, his eyes flashing with anger. But Rachel refused to back down. With a fierce determination, she spat in Jack's face, her defiance burning bright despite the pain. Enraged by her defiance, Jack flew into a violent rage, raining blows down on Rachel until she fell unconscious. Satisfied that she was no longer a threat, Jack left the room, slamming the door shut behind him. Meanwhile, back in Lagos, Angel was growing increasingly worried about Rachel. She had tried calling her multiple times, but both of Rachel's phones were switched off. Even her text messages went unanswered, and when Angel checked Rachel's social media accounts, she saw that her last activity was a day before her journey with Jack. Fearing the worst, Angel decided to wait until the next day. If Rachel still hadn't contacted her by then, she would find a way to help her friend. But for now, all she could do was pray for Rachel's safety, hoping and praying that she would be rescued from whatever danger she was facing. And as the night wore on, Angel's prayer echoed in the darkness, a beacon of hope in the face of uncertainty. 2 days had passed, and Angel still couldn't reach Rachel. Concerned for her friend's safety, she decided to go to Rachel's apartment in Lagos with the spare key Rachel had given her. Angel let herself in and searched the empty rooms. There was no sign of Rachel anywhere. Feeling a sense of dread creeping over her, Angel entered Rachel's room and began to look around. As she was about to leave, she noticed an ID card lying on the floor near the bed. Curious, she picked it up and realized it belonged to Jack. Sitting down on the bed, Rachel examined the ID card closely. She then took her phone and started searching for Jack on social media. But to her surprise, she couldn't find any trace of him online. Puzzled and alarmed, Angel rushed to the police station to file a report. She explained everything to the officers and begged them to help find Rachel. However, they told her to come back after another 24 hours if Rachel still hadn't been in touch. Leaving the station with a heavy heart, Angel knew that something was seriously wrong. She couldn't shake off the feeling of unease that gnawed at her, and she vowed to do everything in her power to find her friend. Meanwhile, back in the dark room, Rachel regained consciousness. The pain from the beating she had endured reminded her that everything happening was real and not just a dream. She opened her eyes to see Jack staring at her, a cruel smirk on his face. "Welcome back to the world, Rachel," Jack sneered. "Are you ready to do the needful, or do you want another beating?" Terrified and desperate to escape, Rachel nodded, realizing that she had no choice but to comply with Jack's demands. Jack untied her hands and handed her a phone, showing her a gun to warning her not to try anything funny. With trembling hands, Rachel transferred all her money to the account number Jack provided. Her 3 bank accounts were emptied, and she watched helplessly as Jack collected the phone and turned it off, begging Jack to let her go now that she had given him what he wanted. Rachel pleaded for mercy, but Jack only laughed, telling her that he decided when she would leave, not her. With that, he slammed the door shut and left Rachel alone in the darkness, without food or water. As Rachel sat there, tears streaming down her face, she knew that her nightmare was far from over, and with each passing moment, she prayed for a miracle to save her from the clutches of her captor. Angel's heart raced with fear and determination as she continued to try Rachel's number without success. She knew in her heart that her friend was in serious trouble, and she refused to sit idly by while Rachel suffered. With a sense of urgency, Angel snapped a photo of Jack's ID card and logged into her social media account. She posted the photo along with Rachel's picture, pouring out her heart in a desperate plea for help. She recounted the story of how Rachel had gone missing for over 3 days, unable to be reached with because her phones were switched off. Angel begged anyone who knew Jack to come forward with information and help save her friend. As the post went live, Angel felt a glimmer of hope amidst the despair. People began to share the post, spreading the word far and wide. Comments poured in from concerned individuals, offering support and prayers for Rachel's safe return. Then, something unexpected happened. Three other women came forward with similar stories of being deceived by Jack. They shared how he had used different identities to scam them, always refusing to be photographed or seen on camera. Angel's heart sank as she realized the full extent of Jack's deception. With newfound determination, people rallied to Angel's side. They flooded social media with messages of support and solidarity. Determined to bring Rachel home safely, Angel wasted no time in returning to the police station, armed with the new information. The officers sprang into action, using Rachel's phone records to track Jack's location. What they found sent chills down their spines. Jack was far away from Lagos State, hiding in a remote location. Without hesitation, the police mobilized a search party, with Angel and other victims joining them. As they set out on the journey, Angel prayed fervently for Rachel's safety, her heart heavy with worry and hope. The road ahead was uncertain and fraught with danger, but Angel refused to give up. She vowed to do whatever it took to bring Rachel home, no matter the cost. And as they ventured into the unknown, Angel clung to the belief that with faith and determination, they would find Rachel and bring her back to safety. In the dark room, Rachel lay on the cold floor, her strength drained and her spirit broken. 4 agonizing days had passed since she was locked up without food or water, and she could barely muster the energy to move. The room felt suffocating, and Rachel's mind was clouded with despair. Suddenly, the door burst open, and Jack rushed in, panic evident in his eyes. He demanded that Rachel stand up, insisting that they needed to leave immediately. But Rachel was too weak to even lift a finger, let alone stand. Seeing Rachel's condition, Jack's facade of concern slipped, replaced by a mask of rage. Without hesitation, he scooped Rachel up in his arms and carried her out of the house, throwing her into the back of his car. As Jack tried to start the car, panic gripped him when it refused to start. Frustrated and desperate, he searched for a solution, unaware of the approaching danger. Suddenly, a voice called out from behind him, freezing him in his tracks. It was the police. and they had come to arrest him. With his hands raised up in surrender, Jack watched in horror as the police surrounded him, their stern faces leaving no room for escape. Angel rushed to the scene, her heart pounding with relief and worry, and she saw Rachel lying unconscious in the car. With the help of other women who had been victims of Jack's deceit, they carefully lifted Rachel out of the car and placed her in the waiting police van. As they sped up to the hospital, Angel stayed by Rachel's side, praying fervently for her recovery. Meanwhile, Jack was handcuffed and taken into custody, his days of deception and cruelty finally catching up with him. At the hospital, doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize Rachel's condition, while Angel never left her side, offering comfort and support during her darkest hour. Meanwhile, Jack was interrogated by the police, and under pressure, he confessed to his crimes. He provided information about the account where Rachel's money had been transferred and was ordered to refund all the stolen funds. With justice served, Jack was finally behind bars, his reign of terror at an end, and as Rachel slowly regained consciousness, surrounded by the love and support of her friends, she knew that she had survived the darkest chapter of her life, stronger and more resilient than ever before. Days passed, and Rachel's strength returned. Finally, the day came when she was discharged from the hospital. Her body healed, but her spirit forever scared by the ordeal she had endured. With Angel by her side, they left the hospital together, their hearts heavy with the weight of what had happened. At home, Angel couldn't shake off the guilt that weighed heavily on her heart. She tearfully apologized to Rachel for ever suggesting that she sign up on the dating site, blaming herself for what had happened. But Rachel, ever forgiving and resilient, reassured her friend that it wasn't her fault. She hugged Angel tightly, grateful for her unwavering support during her darkest hour. Together, they cried and prayed, seeking solace in each other's arms and vowing to never let evil touch their lives again. With time, Rachel returned to work, her mind filled with determination to move forward. The money returned by Jack served as a glimmer of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was light at the end of the tunnel. She threw herself into her work, finding purpose and fulfillment in her career. And as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Rachel found herself growing stronger, more confident, and more resilient than ever before. She made a solemn vow to herself never to sign up on any dating site again, choosing instead to wait patiently for the right man to come into her life at the right time. 3 years later, on her 38th birthday, Rachel's life took a beautiful turn. Her business partner, Nicholas, surprised her with a heartfelt proposal, declaring his love and devotion to her in front of their friends and family. Overwhelmed with joy and gratitude, Rachel said yes, knowing in her heart that she had finally found the love she had been searching for. Their wedding was a celebration of love and happiness, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of hope. Rachel and Nicholas embarked on a new chapter of their lives together, filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a bright future. Meanwhile, Angel had found her own happiness, marrying the love of her life and starting a family of her own. Together, Rachel and Angel remained best of friends, their bond unbreakable, and their hearts forever intertwined. And as they looked back on the trials and tribulations they had faced, they knew that they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. For in the end, it was love, faith, and friendship that had triumphed over evil, proving that even in the darkest of times, there was always hope for a happily ever after. The story of Rachel's journey teaches us important lessons about the dangers of online dating and the importance of trusting our instincts. Firstly, it warns us to be conscious when using dating sites. While they may seem like a convenient way to meet new people, they can also be filled with dangers. Rachel's experience with Jack shows us that not everyone on this site has good intentions. It's important to be vigilant and to thoroughly vet anyone we meet online before trusting them. Secondly, Rachel's story reminds us of the importance of listening to our instincts. From the beginning, Rachel had doubts about signing up for the dating site and about Jack's intention. However, she ignored these warning signs, leading to disastrous consequences. Our instincts are there to protect us, and it's crucial to listen to them, especially when something doesn't feel right. Additionally, the story emphasizes the importance of speaking up and helping our family and friends when they are in trouble. Angel's quick thinking and determination to help Rachel played a crucial role in her rescue. It's essential to be there for our loved ones in times of need, offering support and doing whatever we can to ensure their safety and well-being. Ultimately, Rachel's journey teaches us to be conscious, to trust our instincts, and to always be there for those we care about. By being vigilant, speaking up, and supporting each other, we can protect ourselves and our loved ones from harm and navigate the complexities of modern dating with caution and care. Thank you for watching this amazing story about Rachel, Jack, and Angel on African Stories. If you liked it and felt inspired with their journey, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.